Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain Terraform data sources. If you have ever found yourself manually copy-pasting AWS instance IDs or subnet identifiers into your Terraform files every time they change, you are doing it the hard way. Most engineers get this wrong because hard-coding IDs creates brittle configurations that break the moment your production environment shifts. Today, I'm going to show you how to use data sources to query your live cloud infrastructure safely so your Terraform code stays dynamic and resilient. Let us take a look at how you can stop managing static IDs and start writing infrastructure as code that actually adapts to your environment. These are the topics we are going to cover in this video. Specifically, we will look at why hard-coding IDs is an anti-pattern, how data sources function under the hood, and we will walk through real-world production examples. Watch the full video without skipping any content to understand it better. Before we get into the topic, a small request to you. I have already uploaded many technical videos on different technologies and tools. We share more knowledgeable content every day, so if you are interested in learning and want to improve your skills, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and joined our WhatsApp community. The join link is available in the description or scan the QR code shown on the screen. Let us get started. So why is hard-coding IDs such a massive problem? Imagine you have a deployment script that relies on a specific security group ID. If that group is deleted or recreated by another team, your entire deployment pipeline crashes. You are then stuck manually searching the AWS console, finding the new ID, and updating your files. This happens constantly in teams that do not use dynamic lookups. It turns your infrastructure code into a static, fragile mess that requires constant manual babysitting. That is the exact pain point we are solving today. So, what is a data source exactly? It is a read-only request to your cloud provider. Think of it like using a search engine. If you want to find a file on your computer, you do not memorize its exact memory address. You search by name, date, or type. A data source works the same way. You define the criteria, like searching for a VPC with a specific tag, and Terraform performs the lookup for you. It is like having a live, up-to-date address book for your entire cloud environment. Before we dive into the code, let us make sure your environment is ready. You will need a modern operating system like Windows or Ubuntu. Ensure you have Terraform version 1.5 or higher installed. You must have an AWS account with valid credentials set up in your local environment. If you are on Windows, press the Windows key, type CMD, and press Enter to open your terminal. To verify everything is working, just type Terraform version, and you should see the version number printed on screen. If you get a command not found error, ensure you have added the Terraform binary to your system page. Now let us talk about how this works internally. When you run a plan, Terraform does not just compare your code to the local state file. It actively reaches out to the cloud provider API. If you have a data source defined for a VPC, Terraform asks the API, give me the current VPC details that match this tag. The API responds with the real-time ID, CIDR block, and status. Terraform then injects this information into your execution plan. This happens every single time you plan, ensuring you are always working with the latest, most accurate data from your cloud environment. Here is a classic example. We are defining a data source block to find the most recent Ubuntu AMI. On line 1, we specify the AWS AMI type. We use filters to narrow down the search for Ubuntu 22.04 images. By setting most recent to true, Terraform automatically selects the latest image version provided by Canonical. Finally, lines 16 through 18 output the retrieved ID so you can confirm it is working. This is much safer than hard-coding an AMI ID that will expire in a few months. When you run the plan command, Terraform will connect to the AWS API. You will see the plan output showing the output variable AMI ID populated with the correct current image ID from the cloud. If you run this again in 3 months and Canonical has released a newer image, Terraform will automatically detect that new ID. You do not have to touch your code. Perfect. In a production scenario, you rarely know your VPC ID in advance. Here, we use a data source to look up a VPC tagged as production. Line 1 defines the AWS VPC data source. We filter by the environment tag. Then, in the subnet resource definition, we reference data.awsvpc.selected.id. This is the key point. If the network team recreates the production VPC with a new ID, your Terraform code will automatically adapt and connect the subnet to the correct VPC without a single line of code change. As you can see, the apply command succeeds because Terraform successfully resolved the ID from the VPC tag. This is exactly how senior engineers manage multi-account environments. They rely on tags, not static identifiers, to maintain a flexible and robust infrastructure footprint. So, what happens when it goes wrong? You might see a no results found error. This happens when your filters are too specific or the resource simply does not exist. The root cause is usually a typo in the tag name or a mismatch in the filter values. To fix this, first verify the resource exists in your console. Then, simplify your filter criteria until you find the match. The fix is to broaden your search. Instead of filtering by a specific value, try filtering by the key itself to see what resources are returned. Once you see the output, you can pinpoint the exact value you need. This debugging step saves hours of frustration compared to guessing tag values. Think about this. A massive streaming platform used to struggle with hard-coded subnets. They had 20 different regions. Every time they added a region, the deployment would fail because of manual ID errors. They switched to a data source model, querying tags instead of IDs. The result was immediate. Their deployment success rate hit 100%, and the engineering team stopped spending hours updating config files every time a subnet changed. That is the power of dynamic infrastructure. So, when should you actually use this? Use data sources when you need to look up shared resources like VPCs or images managed by other teams. It is perfect for dynamic lookups. However, do not use them to manage resource creation. That is what resource blocks are for. Also, if a resource is already in your current Terraform state file, do not use a data source to find it. Just use the resource attribute reference directly. Using a data source, in that case, is redundant and inefficient. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. Let us recap what we learned. Data sources make your Terraform code dynamic by querying real-time cloud data. Always prefer tags over IDZ to avoid brittle code. Use output blocks to verify that your queries are returning the expected information. If you hit an error, keep your filters broad to debug. And remember, data sources are for reading, not creating. Follow these points and you will build much more reliable infrastructure. If this video helped you, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel grow. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you like the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.